Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. So, 2 days ago, Beau, the fifth column, released a video talking about Amy Coney Barrett, and in there he was asking, well, not asking, but referencing a question that she was asked about the First Amendment and what's counted under the First Amendment. And I thought it was just freedom of speech. Again, Canadian, so I don't know the American Constitution that well, but I just kind of thought, okay, so what else is related to freedom of speech and other things that I've heard of that might be under the umbrella term of the U.S. Constitution? And so I thought, First Amendment likely means freedom of speech, which also means freedom of assembly, and probably freedom of the press, freedom of religion, and then I think I said freedom of movement because that's one that's like really early on in our Constitution. I just kind of took a guess. But apparently I got that last one wrong. Apparently the last one was the ability to redress grievances with the government. So right there, apparently I, a Canadian, was able to guess or intuit 4 out of the 5 freedoms protected under the First Amendment of the United States. And a Supreme Court justice candidate couldn't do that. That's bad. And so I started doing a little bit more research into this Amy Coney Barrett person. And what I found was not good. Not only seeing some other clips of her not answering questions, like insisting that climate change, oh, well, science isn't there on that, but she totally admitted that smoking causes lung cancer. But what scares me is that she says that she's I think it was a constitutionalist or something. Basically, what she is that she would read the Constitution as the Founding Fathers intended. But here's the thing, the Founding Fathers didn't know where things would end up. And to give some people in America and elsewhere some contrast to here, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled a while ago that the Constitution of Canada is a living, breathing document that changes with the people and the nation. It's not meant to be something that is just tied in time forever and ever. It's something that changes and evolves as a people and a society naturally tend to do. So, according to proposed Judge Barrett here, one of her things would be that, she would just read the Constitution as is. Does it say anything about this? Nope. Well then, out of our hands. Guess what the U.S. Constitution doesn't actually make any mention of? A peaceful transition of power. A peaceful transition of power is simply assumed. This is actually something that's in weirdly a lot of Western-style democracies, especially in Europe and in North America. It was just assumed that whoever got into power and whoever lost power would be good, gentlemanly sports about it, because they were, of course, the social betters of the rest of us plebs at the bottom. And so, of course, they would respect decorum and tradition and history and being polite and diplomatic. These systems never accounted for people who would throw that out the window and exploit it. And that's the reason why so many of these systems have allowed for dictatorships, or worse, fascist regimes in history, to rise up out of them. By basing these systems with the idea that all men are honorable, right? That's a bad basis, because there's always going to be that one person who comes along and changes that. As we've seen with Trump, Stephen Harper here in Canada, Boris Johnson in the UK, Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines, Narendra Modi in India, and frickin' Lukashenko in Belarus, Putin in Russia, and all the dictatorships throughout Latin American history and the fascist regimes in the 30s and 40s of Western Europe. This is not an uncommon thing for people to exploit constitutionality to achieve their political ends. And the fact that Amy Coney Barrett is going to sit there potentially and say, well, founding fathers didn't say anything on it, so I guess I'm not going to say anything on it. You go right ahead, Mr. President. And so, well, hey, they didn't say anything about a peaceful transition of power must be necessary, and they didn't really say that, you needed this many votes to win or to win this way, and the whole thing starts to come apart. She will rubber stamp, if she's confirmed, she will rubber stamp any kind of garbage that the Trump administration throws their way, so long as it's wrapped up under the guise of being okay under the Constitution. This brings me back to a point that I've made before and that I know lots of other people have made before me. Legalism is not a good ground for moralism. If you think of what's legal as being okay, that's a problem. Morality is complex, and it shouldn't be based purely off of laws, because unjust laws should rightfully be broken. They have been historically. That's why America is an independent nation now. No one seems to see the bigger picture here, and they just talk about the silly sound bites of, oh, haha, see, she shouldn't be a judge. Look, she's not answering questions. She's hypocritical. And these are all true. But look at the bigger picture. Why was she nominated? So that she could basically be a rubber stamp for when the Republicans try and seize power in November. Let's keep our eyes on the prize here, people. But the fact that so many don't and just are missing the forest for the trees is definitely what's bothering me today.